Welcome to the Forsyth Magazines podcast. I'm Brooke Eagle, your host, bringing you the stories of the people shaping our community. From business owners to local leaders, we'll explore their journeys, passions, and lessons learned. Let's dive in. Hey guys, we are back with another podcast episode, and I have a very special guest today. I have Endlin T. Outlaw. How cool is that name? She is the Dean of the UNCSA School of Dance, and I am so excited to chat with her. How are you?
I am good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for coming on today, and we're going to talk about the Nutcracker. We're going to talk about your personal background. We're going to talk about all the things.
Great.
So I want to kind of start by getting to know you and a little bit of your history and how you got here where you are today.
Sure. So I am the daughter of two ministers, Baptist ministers.
Oh, wow.
Who were from the South. They migrated north to Chicago in search of a better life for their children, four. In total. I am the youngest of those four. And
the baby.
I am the baby. And that's significant in my name. You mentioned my name earlier because my name is symbolic for end of the line. Because my siblings...
They knew.
They knew you were the last one.
Well, they intentionally wanted to know because my siblings are 7, 8, and 9 years older than I am. And I was a bit of a surprise. So
I love it.
Yes.
Did you jump out and do that? Ta-da!
I kind of jumped out and already started dancing. So,
The best surprise, though.
The best surprise, yes. So in Chicago, I quickly kind of distinguished myself as being a little bit different from my friends in that I loved classical music. I loved all music, and I found ways to dance and create narratives and be on stage from as young as I can remember.
Oh, wow.
I would answer the front door as if I was getting married, and I had on a sheet, and I would say, "Hello, are you for the bride or the groom?" So everything was already very creative and idealistic inside my head. And so my parents were a little worried initially. And then I happened to be with my mom at one of her friends' homes, and she was playing the Ed Sullivan Show. And Tiny Tim was the guest, and he was playing his ukulele, and he was playing Tiptoe Through the Tulips. I apparently got on top of her table and started dancing.
How old were you at the time?
I was maybe 7.
Oh, wow.
6 or 7. And she recognized what I was doing as being something other than, secular movement. And she is the one who recommended that. My mom put me in ballet. And so
Wow.
in many ways, I owe that to her as the beginning of my training. And once I was in, I just fell in love with that art form. And it has led me to a really amazing life of travel, meeting incredible people, getting in touch with my ability to tell stories and even be an activist in many ways through my art form. And so just very grateful for being able to do what it is I've been able to do through dance.
Yeah. So tell us about some of your performance history.
Yes, so at the age of 16, I was seen by Arthur Mitchell, who is the artistic director of the Dance Theater of Harlem, the founder and artistic director, in Chicago. They would come and perform there regularly. He saw me and offered me a position as an apprentice with the Dance Theater of Harlem, which was a big decision for my mom at that young age to let me move to New York City. But she did because, again, being a woman of faith, both my parents believed that this was what was meant for me. And so at 16, I joined a company and started working. I rose through the ranks of being an apprentice all the way to being a principal, and had the opportunity to travel all over the world, really. Spain, South Africa, probably one of my most fond memories and impactful memories. Because it was right after Nelson Mandela had been released from prison and he came to our performance, and he praised us for being ambassadors, dancing through barriers, and that really solidified what dance and what the arts can do, how transformative they can be, not just in your life, but in other people's lives as well.
What a memory. I'm sure you will never forget that.
I will never, ever forget that moment.
Gosh, and 16, that's such a baby.
Yes.
But
yes.
I mean, it's just so cool to see that you really knew your path from a young age. What a beautiful thing. I don't think many people get to experience that.
It was really a gift, and I think there were so many mentors along the way who really helped me to kind of stay on that path, particularly when things got challenging, because dance, ballet is very competitive, and not many people get to move into it as a professional career. And so over time, building up resilience, building up confidence, belief in yourself, when there are so many no's that you have to face before you get those yeses. I'm so grateful for the teachers that I had in my life, which is part of why I think I continued my path in the arts from being a performer to teaching to moving into leadership, because I realized how important it was for students to have people who care about them, who see them as humans, and who want to help them on that path.
And who have experienced it.
And who've
I always use the
experienced it.
example, I went to school to be a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I couldn't do it. But it's like principals that were never teachers. It's like, how can you relate truly to these teachers if you were not in the classroom? So I think it's beautiful that you truly went through these same experiences as these students. And you kind of answered my next question already about the transition from being a performer to an educator and now the dean at the School of the Arts. What drew you specifically to the School of the Arts?
Well, along my path, as I mentioned, I was a ballerina first, and ballet is my first language in dance. And I danced with Dance Theater of Harlem for about 27 years in total. But during that span, I fell in love. I married a dancer as well, had my first child who became the company baby and toured with us for the early parts of his years. But once he got of a certain age where I knew he needed to start having socialized things happen for him, I still wanted to dance, but I knew that I would not want to tour 9 months out of the year anymore. It would become increasingly harder to take him along with us.
Sure.
So I really kind of on a whim decided to audition for a Broadway show, which the Carousel was being revived. And it was a show that was based in classical ballet. So I auditioned for that. I auditioned for that with a gospel hymn because that was what I knew. I was not formally trained as a singer, but I grew up singing in church and got that show. That was my first Broadway show. I later went on to continue dancing, but now being able to stay in New York City because all of my shows were on Broadway. They were original cast of those shows. The other two shows were The Lion King and Aida.
Oh, The Lion King, my favorite.
It's an amazing and incredible show.
Yeah.
And so after that period of time, I was ready to transition, but again, stay in the arts. And so I wanted to go back to school and get my degree in dance. And that led me to becoming a professor. And I was at the University of Illinois for 7 years, got my tenure, met a wonderful colleague by the name of Sarah Hooks, who is an alum of UNCSA.
Oh.
This position opened up, and she thought that it would be a nice fit for me. And initially I was a little like, I don't know if this would be a nice fit for me. Everything that I'd heard about the school was amazing and wonderful, and I knew of the former deans, and you can't be in the industry and not know of the successful dancers that they've trained over the years and
Sure.
the amazing faculty that has been a part of the program. But I just didn't know if it would be a right fit for me. But the more I read about what it was they were seeking to do and what they were looking for, it started to feel like a real possibility.
Yeah.
So I sent my information in, and step after step after step, I started to fall in love more and more with the program, what the possibilities were, and with the students that I met, even in the search process. And then when I got the position, it was a pretty easy yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, it really married my worlds of training as a conservatory dancer, that rigor, that expectation of excellence and those standards, and my ability to still be in administrative positions that help to move the field forward in some ways.
Sure. So I want to talk about your vision for leading the 60th anniversary of the Nutcracker this year.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
The Nutcracker has become, I think, a ballet and a piece that you don't have to know much about dance at all, but you know that particular ballet because it's a generational opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It is a way to share something over the holidays that is magical and whimsical, but also really steeped in, again, these amazing physical dancers being on stage, but also the spectacle of the lights, the sets, all of the things that come together. It's just a great way to celebrate the holidays. And so it has become a tradition worldwide, and no less so at UNCSA. And we have a particularly wonderful production that is really student-centric. The performers, the dancers are all students. Our musicians are students from the School of Music. And then the sets and a lot of the tech aspects are ran by students from our design and production team.
I love that. It's such a beautiful performance. It's one of my favorite holiday traditions. One of my first memories is going to the Nutcracker as a kid, and my grandmother tells me that I didn't sit down the whole time. I just stood up. I was just so excited to be there, little Brooke. But that it's just special, and every little girl kind of remembers, and little boy remembers their first Nutcracker experience.
It's true. It's infectious. There's something for everyone. And you said little girls and little boys. I mean, the beautiful snow scene, and then the mouse battle. Who doesn't get charged and excited by that? And although our production really utilizes all of our students, it is so polished and so professional, and I think that's what's been able to make it the signature work that it is, and such a supported and well-attended work. We hear so many stories of people who have brought their children and then their grandchildren, and so it continues to be this legacy and this ritual that happens year after year.
It is. And I want to talk about how the production supports student scholarships and UNCSA's just overall mission.
Yes, so the revenue from the Nutcracker supports scholarships for the School of Dance, the School of Music, and the School of Design and Production students, sponsorships as well, which we are so grateful for, because without scholarships, many students like myself would not have these opportunities. And it is a blessing and a gift for those students, but it's also a blessing and a gift for us as people who believe that the arts are transformative and the arts need to continue to survive. And there are so many students who have gone on to become such significant role models in the field who, without a scholarship, would not have had that opportunity to receive excellent training and to be in the circumstances and situations that have made them who they are today.
Yeah, I love that. And we talked a little bit about this, but I know that the School of the Arts production really is, and I'm biased a little bit, but it really is unique and it's special and it's just very incredible. So what do you think kind of sets the Nutcracker that the School of the Art does apart from other performances?
Well, I think everything starts with the head, and the head of our productions in the faculty, our amazing choreographer, Ilya Kosadayev, has been a faculty member in the School of Dance for several years. I think his production is brilliant and timeless. And he's so thoughtful in how he features the students and how he works with who he has in the room. he's an amazing teacher, and so I think it starts there. But we have mentors in faculty in all of the schools. We have had faculty members who have served as conductors. Our own chancellor has served as a conductor. So I think all of those things really work together so well to make this production what it is.
So, personal question for you. What is your favorite Nutcracker scene?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. And I'm asked this all the time, and I think it changes for me with each time I see it.
Yeah.
Each time I see it, I experience something new and different, which is kind of amazing because I've been performing it since I was 7.
Wow.
And so I've gone through the ranks of being Claire and being in the Arabian to being the Sugar Plum and the Dewdrop.
So you've played almost every role.
I have played almost every
Wow.
role. Back then, they didn't let female body dancers do the mouse scene. I would have loved to have done that, but
they do now. I'm assuming.
Yes,
yeah.
we do now. We do now. But it really depends on the cast and the people.
Yeah.
So many moments stand out in my head. Mother Ginger is always a favorite.
Yes.
But the music and just the whole visual aspects of the snow scene is also incredible. And for me, someone from Chicago, Illinois, who's experienced a lot of snow.
We don't get much of that here, fortunately. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So I know that the School of the Arts is really known for their commitment to dancer health and wellness and injury prevention and things like that. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yes. So I think the evolution of everything is something that we have to always be mindful of. I think dance, like many other areas in our lives, have become more mindful, more thoughtful about how we first recognize who's in the room as human first. And by recognizing them as humans who happen to dance or who happen to sing or who happen to want to be actors, we have to always remember that they will be their best selves if they feel like they are cared for. And if we give them opportunities to learn how to care for themselves. So there is a real desire for us to understand their needs, to give them agency to express what those needs are, and to not look at those things as being deficits, but really being assets, to be able to advocate for yourself, to be able to know that you get out of a situation what you put into a situation. So I think candor and transparency, trust, all of these things are part of our training and our desire to make them feel physically and mentally fit and capable of being in this industry, which is a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It is.
I'm sure there's lots of pressure and
lots of expectations. But if they can feel that they are supported in those expectations, then they have a better chance of succeeding.
Yeah. So I know the Nutcracker performance, the planning of it really is just about all year long.
It is.
So now we're in the home stretch, but what are some other performances and things that are going on for the upcoming months?
So this coming week, we have our emerging choreographers, which is actually the choreography of our 4th year contemporary concentration students. It's one of my favorites because we get to hear their voices through their movement and see their narratives, and they choreograph on their colleagues, which is also great. So they get that opportunity to interact. They get to understand what it's like to kind of be on the other side of the classroom, where they have to convey information. They have to be able to get their vision to be embodied by the dancers that they are working with. I think it also teaches them about community and teammanship, and also around balancing your time, managing that, making sure you're thinking about your wellness, your nutrition, your fitness, and how that translates over to the dancers that you're working with. So they get to be on the other side of the coin for a little bit. And
awesome.
I'm really excited about the talent that they show and exhibit artistically. So that's what's immediate.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 main stage performances that happen in the spring semester with winter dance and spring dance. And those are mixed bill repertory where we bring in guest artists of all kinds to come in and work with our students, which is a great opportunity because many of our students have had performance opportunities, professional opportunities come out of meeting those guest artists who are working in the field today.
Yeah, it's such a gem to have the School of the Arts right here in Winston-Salem. I live like literally right up the street, and it's just so much talent right here in our backyard.
It
So
really is.
my last question for you before we wrap things up, how long have you been in Winston-Salem now?
I've been in Winston-Salem 5 years.
So what do you love about Winston-Salem since you've been here?
Oh gosh, I love the pace of Winston-Salem. Having lived in New York for over 35 years, there's an energy that you kind of just adopt, because if you don't, you kind of get left behind. There's a pace here that allows you to kind of savor and enjoy many of the things that you get to experience. And it is wonderful because this is a place where we do have the arts, largely because of UNCSA. I mean, we can go to the symphony, we can go to wonderful theatrical productions, but you also get to have time to reflect on those things and soak them in and think about how you want to be a part of impacting that area of the world even more. So I quite enjoy that. There's some delicious food here.
Oh, yes. Lots of good restaurants.
Yes. Go Krispy Kremes.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, Indolin, so if people are interested in attending the Nutcracker performance this year, remind us when those performances are happening and how they can go about getting tickets.
So the Nutcracker this year will be at the Tanger Center, and the first performance is on December 5th, and it runs from December 5th through the 7th.
Awesome. We can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming on and chatting with me. It was great to meet you.
Such a pleasure to meet you as well.
And as always, you can find Forsyth Mags online at forsythmags.com and on Instagram at Forsyth Mags. And if you have enjoyed this episode or have ever enjoyed an episode, we would love it if you would leave us a rating or a review. And that is a wrap for today. Thanks, y'all. The views and opinions stated on this podcast are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting companies. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced without expressed written consent of Forsyth Magazines Incorporated. Ooh, that's a mouthful.